introduce Ivana. Firstly, I will start by telling what I know, but also I will read a bit things that I don't remember. But anyhow, one thing what it's important is that Ivana is a friend and a collaborator. She names herself researcher and a curator of cross-disciplinary or transdisciplinary, would say, maybe collaborative and socially engaged works and programs. She is working within the faculty of things that can be learned, organization, NGO, a non-governmental organization from Skopje, very active from Bitola and Skopje, very active in field of arts and culture. There, she's a program director, and also she is some years, I don't know how many years, co-curator of AKTO Festival for Contemporary Arts, which exists since 2006, and that is a very important contemporary arts festival that it's happening in North Macedonia, in Bitola. On her own, she curated several different exhibitions, programs, and etc., but also together with her co-worker, Filip Jovanovski, they developed different projects through FRU. And for the last project, which is, those are mostly durational projects because they start with a certain problem and engagement, and they're developed throughout the years. And this was one around this building, which is probably she will talk about. And the project was called This Building Talks Truly. They won a prize last year on Prague Quadrennial of performance design in space. Besides that, also they were researching about the collaborative groups in visual arts. So they won this Ladislav Barishikj award of AICA Macedonia, and etc., etc. However, by her education, she finished history of art, but also she was part of this non-specialized curatorial program of the Appel, which mostly is in the field of visual art. And we invited Ivana here because we think she's one of the most prominent young curators, but also one of the, let's say, most active cultural workers in the field of arts and culture in North Macedonia, and that she will in some way tackle some of the issues that are concerning our local context, socio-political, but also artistic one. So please, even if you want to add something, of course, you can freely add. And I'm around.
Well, thank you for sharing this, Biljana, or my friend Biljana, as we call her. Thank you for introducing me, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this program, Curating in Context. I think it's quite valuable to have this kind of programs in North Macedonia, and I hope that all the participants that I saw are all around the world can benefit from it. I'm sure actually that they can benefit. So I guess you all, maybe I can start, Biljana, with the presentation. I guess you all right? I guess, yes.
You just muted. I mean, you were frozen, so I didn't hear you, but I just continue.
Okay, I just asked, do you all see my presentation?
We do see the presentation.
Okay.
People sometimes just put their cameras off, so because they're just seeing what you're presenting. And when we start discussion, they will put it on and we can continue discussion. So everything is fine. If something is not, someone will write. So.
Okay. So I've basically divided this presentation in two segments. One of them is curating in context, and the other one is curating a context for thinking the public. And Biljana mentioned that amidst all the projects that I'm participating on, collaborating or introducing, maybe, curating, I decided to present four projects actually divided in two segments. One of them is, the first segment is divided in two exhibitions. One of them is Anonymous is the Answer that was that I curated in the National Gallery of North Macedonia, and the other one is Other Scale of Things in the Museum of Contemporary Art in Skopje. And the other segment talks about two durational long-term projects. One of them is in the railway residential building in Skopje, and the other one is Culture and Artistic Center Textile in Štip. The thing that joins all the projects beside me and my collaborator, maybe in the second segment, Filip Jovanovski, is the organization Faculty of Things That Can Be Learned that Biljana mentioned is basically the primary kind of source of my activities. The Faculty of Things That Can Be Learned is a non-profit organization that was founded in early 2000s. And basically it lies for almost 20 years, kind of producing different kind of projects. All these projects are basically curated or done in 2019, and maybe some of them kind of had the most visible, were most visible in 2019, or maybe started before, but kind of 2019 was a crucial year, I think, and maybe somehow in amidst all this Corona crisis, I think it was also like an important for my professional kind of professional growth. So the first segment, Curating in Context, is basically curating as a non-institutional practice, but non-institutional from my position, but in an institution, in order to rethink the institution as public spaces through their collections. And the second segment is something that I call Curating a Context for rethinking the public. And public is a really important thing in this geographical area in Macedonia, especially having its history as a former Yugoslav republic. So let's start. The first segment, these two exhibitions in the National Gallery and in the Museum of Contemporary Art in Skopje, is basically part of a bigger research that I started in 2018, and it's called Alternative Potential Modernisms, or Modernism in Macedonia as a Self-Colonizing Project, and Potentiality of the Second-Hand Knowledge as a Subversive Act. This lasted almost a year and involved an analysis of the institutionalized modernist discourse as the key and still prevailing paradigm shaping the visual art public sphere in the country. What I try to introduce as a point of speculation is the idea that from a post-colonial perspective, institutionalized modernism is a result, what happened? As a point from a post-colonial perspective, institutional modernism is a result of the colonial, or in this case, voluntarily accepted self-colonizing rule, which is something that Alexander Kjosef is introducing in his several texts and books, which in a discrepancy between a vision and reality, but also authoritative fantasisms, led to its self-strengthening. They both deal with the collections, and this is the second key concept in this two exhibitions. They both deal with the collections of the two institutions and examine how they are kept, displayed, presented, interpreted, and valued, and how the decision of showing the past is manifested. And this is something that is crucial in this context because, for example, here in Macedonia, permanent collections are really permanent. They last for a long time. And in these two institutions, which are the institutions in the country, they last for almost 20 years. They're not changed. In the Museum of Contemporary Art, actually the permanent collection is not displayed at all because of different problems, and I'm going to mention that afterwards. And these two exhibitions offer, rather than offering a neat visual display of selected works, a form that often neutralizes the senses, they try to create a space for subversive and provocative voices, a space for confrontation between existing forms of knowledge and calls upon responsibility, collectivity, and solidarity. But they also make an effort to re-examine, challenge, and decolonize the selections and practices from the past. So as you can see, past through the display of the collections is really important thing in these two exhibitions. Especially, we're trying to interrogate and re-examine the institutionalized modernism and why that concept is still prevailing in this country. So the first exhibition, it's a group exhibition, and basically it was opened in June last year, and it's called Anonymous is the Answer, featuring works of the Museum of American Art in Berlin, collaboration with Walter Benjamin. Works by Eliga, works by Adrian Pazzi, Doppelganger, Oliver Musovic, and Filip Jovanovski. But this exhibition, basically, and these works were displayed among the permanent national exhibition in the National Gallery, which dates from 14th until 20th century. It's also featuring the documentation from a student's protest in 1959 in Skopje, and also it has an additional program. I just want to mention, maybe I wanted to name this presentation Curating in Context and Radical Imagination, but I kind of said that maybe it's going to be too much of too many concepts introducing in this lecture. So I would say like storytelling. And I would like to also, maybe I'm not a good storyteller, but I'm going to try really to open up different stories for you. So you can also, you can try to as a jigsaw puzzle to kind of create a whole an image in your own heads. So yes, stories are really important in all of these projects. I start this exhibition with a quote by Macedonian art historian, which I find really interesting for this exhibition, and he says, "A fear, I cannot describe it particularly in terms that we have to be modern in any manner at any time, because as simple as that, there is no valid template except modernism. On the other hand, there is a fear that what comes from outside is not ours, and relating to such tendencies, we need to define ourselves locally." So in the concept of institutionalized modernism, which I kind of really try to root it in the self-colonization. What is important is we have to follow the Western modernistic paradigm, especially in I think that in all arts, but I'm knowledgeable maybe mostly in the visual arts. So I would also like to root this conversation in the contemporary visual arts. So as Laszlo Plavsky said, we have this pressure even to be recognized by the Western world, and if we don't do that, then we're gonna stay always local, always provincial, and we're not gonna exist in the world. This is somehow true, but then on the other hand, if we want to really escape from this institutionalized, or we want to interrogate, to really tackle, to maybe to shake on this institutionalized world, we really have to rethink why we still are staying in this institutionalized modernism. So this kind of concept I try to maybe test through this exhibition and through the concept of the anonymous. Anonymous is really important thing because when we talk about institutionalized modernism, what is important is the figure of the author. Besides the concept of the institutions, besides the concept of the indespecable, clean, white spaces, what is important? The other thing is the figure of the author, the figure of the artist. And what I try to really make an exhibition that talks about a completely different point of view of the artist, actually to go around the figure of the artist. Artist is not only the individual, but maybe the collective body also. Maybe the artist can be the artist, but also some of the exhibitions don't talk about artists at all, or maybe the visual art world will not talk about artists at all. So Anonymous is the Answer is a quote by basically has a story behind it. In 1979, the artist Goran Đorđević decided to make an international strike for the artist, because he wanted to kind of strike to make a protest against the rigid art system or the pressuring art system. So basically he sent this letter to all the artists that he knew around the world to sign the petition, and also to kind of protest against the rigid art system. He didn't have so many replies, but one of the reply was from a Dutch artist, Job Bertmans, and he said, "Goran, anonymous is the answer." And after that, we're not going to hear about this artist anymore. He basically stopped making art. And I think this is the most radical gesture in the context of the institutionalized modernism. And I think it is the key example of what I'm trying to say in this exhibition. What you're seeing in this moment on this slide is basically the architectural plan of the National Gallery of the Republic of North Macedonia, or actually one of their spaces. This is the Pashin Hammam, where the permanent collection is displayed in this institution. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start with the Museum of the American Art in Berlin, and then I'm gonna go, as you can see from this architectural plan, I'm kind of moving through the rooms of this hammam, in order to tell what was displayed in the hammam, and how they are trying to tell a different story than the one that is displayed in it, and that is the permanent collection, or as they say, the national collection of the Republic of North Macedonia. So the Museum of the American Art in Berlin, in collaboration with Walter Benjamin, tells about 4 stories on art, actually, and they are displaying their ethnographic exhibition. This exhibition was basically commissioned for this, especially commissioned for this exhibition. And I'm not going to read this because I think I'm going into too many details, but then what this exhibition is telling, this exhibition in the National Permanent Collection, what it's trying to say is how art was invented, and how the Western Canyon, actually the Western world, invented art, what was its purpose, and how the artists, institutions, and art history, works of art were invented, and what was their purpose. So I'm going to be the first room. Actually, I'm saying this as the first room, but it can be the last, because this gallery space has 2 entrances, and I wanted to not to impose an exhibition that goes linearly, but it can be viewed from different it can have 2 starting points, or actually 3. So like I left this for the audience to kind of read on their own what this exhibition is telling about. So this first room is saying the history of the museum. And what is important is how this museum, actually, how this National Gallery was created, but also how the most important museums that talk about the Western Canyon of art are telling how they were created. What is presented on this slide is basically from the left side is the first artwork that entered in the National Gallery, and that is a still life, oil on canvas, that was basically made in the 30s, but entered in the collection in the 50s, and it's by Nikola Bašević. And then we moved forward with photos from the National Gallery, basically, and the hammam, how it was created, how it looks inside, and then what this museum in Berlin decided to do is also has visuals of hammam in Orientalism, because this institution is located in a hammam. On the other side, we have, as I said, the most important kind of examples of the Western Canyon, of the museums, and that is Belvedere in Rome, Louvre Paris, London's Museum in Hanover, and then MoMA in New York. So like here we have different images of what is inside these museums, how they look like, some of the most important exhibitions that were created there. We have, like, as you say, like different kind of image, so I'm not going to go in every image, so it's too much, I think. And this is basically in here in this slide you see original documents from the National Gallery actually, and how it was established, how it looked like in the beginning, what was the signature of the first director and etc. What is important for this institution is that it is the first institution actually dedicated to culture, to contemporary, to art, actually to visual art. It was the first. It was established by artists, and it's basically the oldest institution, a cultural institution in the country. And actually it is the institution that introduced modernism and kind of is still perpetuating that idea. So that's why I kind of, with the museum, we decided that with the Museum of American in Berlin, we decided to show these original documents here. So this is the second room. So basically what I didn't mention in the previous room is that all our everything that is displayed by the Museum of American Art in Berlin is basically on these walls, this red wall, and around it are the works of the National Permanent Collection of the National Gallery. So in this room, we have exhibition of artworks and museum standard. And what is this? What is the Museum of American Art in Berlin talking is basically how the museum standard was created. And in this small vitrine, we showed basically the tools, the hammer, and everything that we used for displaying, for putting this exhibition on. And on the wall we have different kind of photos from different exhibitions all around the world, presented in 6 segments. One of them is our visitors, jury, then exhibitions, openings, cocktails, and I forgot what was the other thing. So like in different kind of categories, we showed how these different kind of segments that are important for an art exhibition. And as you can see here, like this is the segment exhibitions, and then on the other side are the openings. And also what we did with the museum, we kind of added some photos that are on the bottom of the slide, added photos from the exhibition in Skopje after it was opened. So you can see there's one of the rooms are included in this segment exhibitions, and from the openings is included basically our opening in Skopje. This is the third room. It's called deartization. Deartization is one key concept of the Museum of American Art in Berlin, and basically talks about how artworks become artworks and become icons in the museum spaces, in the modernistic museum spaces, but also how objects from the world, for example, like religious icons, enter in a museum and become artworks. So this is a key concept that basically this museum is propagating. So so we're not forgetting how the artworks became artworks. So in this wall, we have different kind of segments as opposite to the previous one. Here we have segments from still life, self-portrait, socialist realism, and on the other hand, different segments. We included basically works from the collection of the National Gallery. And also like filled it in with different photos from again from the happenings or from works of art from the Western art production. And this is the other side, which is basically the abstract painting, and then also like the religious icon, mother and a child. All these artworks are accompanied by the text by the museum that basically describes what's the story around the work, but also why this work is chosen to be displayed here.
Ivana, I have to stop you a bit. Maybe you can go on or wrap up about this example and go on the next, what you have about, because you're like running out of time. And
my God, I'm still on the first exhibition.
That's why I'm saying, yeah.
Okay, and this is the Oriental Room. This is the last room by this museum, and that's it. I'm gonna go briefly now through the other artists. Adrian Pazzi was participating with the work Victori. It's a video work. Eliga made a performance also. She's really interesting because she went on a expedition, scientific expedition on North Pole, and this is really important work. This is something that the artists don't do. This is her display. Then Oliver Musovic also was commissioned to make a work. This participative project basically interrogates the around the National Gallery of Macedonia, and also its Yugoslav past, because in the collection they have Yugoslav collection, but they don't mention it now. This is Yugoslav collection. They mention it as a collection of Serbians, Croatians, Slovenians, Macedonians, etc. So this was really important thing for him. Filip Jovanovski displayed his work Mother Limpa Kirch and Her Children. This is one of the segments of the thing. Doppelganger, really important, the art group from Belgrade installed on these 5 TVs. We have some visuals from Yugoslavia, from Yugoslavian TV stations just before it fell apart early 90s. And these are basically documents from the student protest in 1959, a really important protest, and something that's not known in the Macedonian history. And I really find it interesting because it was somehow maybe a persecutor of the important protest 1968 in Belgrade. And yes, that's it. That's basically what I wanted to say about this first exhibition. And then the second one is the other scale of things, which followed basically by the end of 2019. So I really tried to really kind of interrogate this concept of institutionalized modernism in 2 institutions in the same year. Here I also work with the collection, but what I decided is not to invite artists, but to invite an architect to somehow to devise a support structure for the works that I tried to show in this exhibition. And this exhibition is because as I had anonymity in the previous exhibition as a concept, here is contemporary solidarity. And solidarity is really something that I wanted to interrogate, especially because solidarity is something that the Museum of Contemporary Art is really known for, because it was created as a space of international solidarity. A lot of important artists from let's say the Western world gave arts for creating their collection. So they have like from Calder and Picasso works, from Jasper Jones and things, and other important artists of the art history. So like this museum really talks about, actually it was created as a space as a concept of solidarity. But my question was, does it still talk about solidarity? So the Srđan Jovanović, why is the architect that I invited for this exhibition? He basically he created a support structure, but maybe not so much as something that I was envisioning, but something completely different, but talks about this modernistic kind of institutionalized modernism. Actually, his project is Archilix, and he talks about the leaking in the museum. So the modernistic architecture actually is always kind of facing with the problem of leaking and the leakage. And this is something that all the institutions in the world are trying to cover. And also this institution is trying to cover it, of course, because in their concept, leaking is not entering as something that's positive, but absolutely negative. And then they have this problem since the establishment of this institution. They really tried so many times to kind of solve this problem, but the roof basically is leaking. But then this always is a big investment, and then they don't have money to do that. So while Srđan was in Skopje in August last year, we decided to talk about basically this leaking. And he says, why should we kind of see
Ivana, sorry, you just have 6 minutes to organize the time, and then we have to start with questions.
Yeah. I'm gonna just like finish in 6 minutes with this exhibition, and then I'm just gonna tell you the website, and you can check for the other projects. He devised this structure of pipes, basically as the museum is leaking. So this is a drawing that he drew in August last year. This is a space that we made the exhibition. So basically these are the pipes that talk about the leaking as a positive thing of the architecture, as something that can be exhibited, something that can say positively about the museum, and also can open up different thinking about what solidarity means. So this is amongst this installation of pipes that he devised. I kind of showed the works from the collection of this institution, or basically works that talk about solidarity, or talk about different kind of events that artists participated in or kind of supported in order to be to be solidary with the world, let's say. So this is the exhibition as it was displayed in the museum. Juan Rabascal was part of the exhibition. This is how from bird's perspective, some of the works in the exhibition, the catalog. This is the leaking, actually, the research, how the leaking is manifested in the museum. This is the lecture that we had in the museum, and that's it. These are basically the things about institutionalized modernism. I'm sorry, yes, there are so many stories. I didn't have estimation of time how much I'm gonna say. I always think that I say little, but I guess I say always too much. This is basically one of the things that I'm proud that last year happened. I'm just gonna quickly mention that this is a project in the railway building in Skopje. It's a social building, still kind of inhabited by people. We work there with my partner, Filip Jovanovski, since 2015 in this building. It has a cinema inside. And for this project, this is the building for this project. We won the Golden Triga on Prague Quadrennial of the performance design space. Some of the exhibitions that we did, projects with the tenants. This is the performance basically in the building, which kind of will be in short version we presented in Prague. And Biljana, let me just show the video, the photo from Prague, how it looks like. This is the support structure that moves. So many slides. And this is how, basically, this is a performance by an actress, Kristina Lelovac. Philip invited her to tell the story about the railway building. And this is basically the performance in Prague. The wall moves, it goes up and down, and we tell the story about this building. Thank you. Sorry for being too long, and yeah, I hope we have questions for this session.
Thank you, Ivana. No, don't be sorry. It's just it's unfortunately that you couldn't talk more about the building and everything that was done there, because it is for me very specific approach, as you said, like curating a context in that sense. But anyhow, maybe through questions, you can tell more about it. Did you say also that you're going to present Kunsttextil, and this was?
Yes, I have photos from the other project, which basically was curated by Biljana in the beginning. This is the Kunsttextil and a place for textile workers. That was a project by Filip Jovanovski, curated by Biljana, Tanurovska, and then also I kind of continued with doing something there. But yes, these are photos from that. But then unfortunately, yes, as I said, I kind of wrongly estimated the time. So maybe you can check the website AKTO tirefero.org, and you can see.
Maybe you can write on the chat, please.
Yes, I can write it on the chat,
yeah.
definitely.
Okay, so now we are open for questions. So
I should like basically stop share?
But yeah, I think it's possible that you stop sharing because
yes, okay. I can also send you, Biljana, the presentation. If somebody
sure,
wants.
we can also
if somebody
is
interested, I can send it.
Okay, super. Thank you. I'm sorry about this, but I mean, we have to keep time because it's like too many things going on for
as I said, too many stories.
And, yeah. Okay. Can you stop this sharing?
Sorry?
You have to stop the sharing. Like, yeah. Okay, here we are. So, any questions? Any comments? Intrigues? And okay, maybe then I can say like I can ask something especially about this, the second one. I mean, I know the exhibitions, I know all the projects, and more or less everything is very kind of familiar to me. But anyhow, I wanted to ask you more about this, like that you mentioned about the solidarity leaking and all this development of that concept with Srđan Weiss. And what I wanted to ask you is that, for example, curatorial goes out of this white box that you work with, and as I know you, and I was presenting you, you deal with these social aspects, with the concepts that kind of enlarge the understanding of what you exhibit in a certain place, time, and environment, by opening up this conceptual understanding of a certain problem, let us say. But then you communicate this with a certain public. So how this, in a certain context, which is, okay, this was in a museum of contemporary art, and it's expected that it communicates with the audience on a different way, is translated through the model of exhibiting as it is in this case, with these pipes, water, and everything, to comes up of a discussion of solidarity, you know. So it's kind of too many symbolics within a space, because for myself, dealing with performance and with a different type of, I don't know, curating, it engages the body and a different symbolics probably, and more like a discursive program, that it's not that much explicit, but also in its sense communicates differently. So my question is in this direction: how you come to, you have this essence in discussing the solidarity, but how it can be really communicated with the audience that comes, with its everyday audience there, and see these pipes and this water there.
Yeah, I'm completely aware, actually, in the that this exhibition, but also in the exhibition in the National Gallery, is overloaded with narratives and with stories, and I'm completely aware of it, and I'm completely aware that it can create kind of cacophony with the visitors. But what I try to do is somehow try to go away from this standard exhibition model, you know, like when you have as a curator selection of artists, and there are these gradations of different kind of curatorial strategies and of the curatorial, from, you know, like selection of our works and artists that this scale or idea, in a sense that it talks about the grandeur, the grand person of the curator, and this is something that goes in the, that's something that's really established in the art world, in this like kind of closed art world, to really different kind of strategies for making curatorial exhibitions that really try to go beyond the person of the art of the curator, and also to really to accentuate what the artist is saying. So these are kind of really two extremes maybe that are kind of prevalent in the contemporary visual art world. In this exhibition, for example, in the MOCA in Skopje, I really didn't try to do an exhibition, the standard exhibition. I really, first of all, I didn't have a standard space. I didn't have a gallery. I really like a gallery, white wall space. I had really glass open, like open space with glass structures that you can see the outside. So that doesn't have walls at all. It has a atrium just in the middle of the space. So what I really try to do is also create a discursive exhibition. And by this I mean exhibition that can be seen, but most of all exhibition that has to be talked about. It has to be kind of really thought about why this exhibition is put there. And I'm aware also I received different kind of, you know, like different kind of comments from artists and also from cultural workers here that saw the exhibition, from like, why did you do this? Like, you know, like somebody that didn't like it, like he asked me like, what, but why? Like I didn't see much in the space. And some people commented like, yeah, this is important for rethinking. Some people really got offended because I really talk about institutionalized modernism, and I say like, we have to stop with this modernistic thinking in the Macedonia. We really have to move forward with our thought, and also to move forward with the thinking about art. So in this sense, I think that I don't talk with the body, I don't talk with visual, but maybe more with the discursive aspect of it.
Yes,
And
no. This is completely understandable, because why I ask also this question is we had this seminar with Sergei Pristash. He was talking about this dominant apparatus of watching, and actually this dispositive, which, for example, in a context of Macedonia, it's very dominant, is this modernism, but also it's how we watch this modernism, or how we watch art within, let's say, certain institution. So therefore, I ask, because what it's definitely very much dominant paradigm, let's say in theater, it's something that you need to see the corp of, I don't know, ballet there, or I don't know, ensemble of this there. And this is the paradigm of this dominant apparatuses within the institution. So I realized that probably this is a gesture or a comment of the institution as modernistic institution, mostly not only as a collection of modernism. You know, this is like, is this the case? And how was this curatorial, how to say, what was your curatorial gesture, or I don't know, intervention as a discursiveness? Like, what did you do? Like, was it discussion? Was it just an open question? Was it this? How did you intervene this dominant dispositive of watching, let's say?
well, I think that it can be seen in the space, in the manner how things were shown. You know, first, as I said, first physically it was shown differently than the dominant kind of representation that the museums are using, because like museums have no matter how the museums are functioning, they have certain kind of protocol that you have to kind of support. In that sense, I tried to really do something not different, but trying to introduce maybe or test something differently. But also, like, yes, I created this, like we created we had a talk, like the architect and I, we had a talk in front of audience, but I never think that is enough. You know, like there should have been, in this case, there should have been a different kind of platform where we should have talked about these things. But to be honest, like coming from the non-institutional sector and working within or collaborating with the institutional one, it's really hard somehow to really push forward or to kind of experiment with stuff. So after these two processes, I'm really tired somehow of doing exhibitions. So this year is for me like really off with working. I wanted to kind of broaden this conversation, but I will have to gather some strength and do it maybe next year.
Thank you, Ivana. People started leaving because, yeah, this is how it's scheduled. And maybe just I would like to ask Jan, Alexandra, Christina, Magda, and Sharon, who are still with us, if they have some comment. Question more. Alexandra, please.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
I have just one question. You emphasized or repeated a lot this verb, I will say, permanent exhibition. Okay, we can see from a lot of perspective the quality of permanency, but maybe it's just like a comment or a guide. When you think about this permanency of exhibition, in which way do you approach this problematic? If you see it problematic or not, is it the base for thinking forward, or is it this is like an axiom, you know, you take it and then you go from there? So maybe something about that. You're thinking about this permanent thing.
So the concept about being permanent or about the permanent exhibitions?
Well, you said something, yes. Otherwise, I don't know, this permanent exhibition, what does it mean? How do you approach this?
In the exhibition, how to approach the permanent exhibition?
Yeah.
First of all, I kind of showed the permanent. Yes, it's kind of really funny when you say, like, when you put an emphasis on the permanent, but it's like in Macedonia, a lot of stuff that should have been temporary are permanent. That is something that is the first thing that is kind of really interesting to think about in this context. Like we had like temporary settlements for people that should have been temporary after the Skopje earthquake in '63, and they stayed permanent houses. So, you know, like also the permanent exhibitions in Macedonia should have been, you know, like for 2 or 3 years, and they stayed for 20 years. So like a lot of stuff are kind of becoming, you know, like solid and should have been kind of changed. And when we talk about the institutionalized modernism, it should have been like a phase that we reinterrogate, really rethink, we see the world through the lenses of the modernism, and it should have been temporary, but it stayed permanent as a paradigm, it's almost a canon in here in Macedonia, how we see the art, how we see art in the art world. So that's why I kind of I just kind of left this exhibition as a exponent, as the whole permanent exhibition in the museum as one work of art, actually. And this is a gesture that I kind of put here. I don't know if yeah, a lot of people that entered the exhibition were kind of asking like didn't know actually what is going on, but I think after a while kind of sense the confrontation between the interventions from this kind of walls that we created for the exhibition and the exhibition that already existed there. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Interesting. Okay, I can continue with this permanency and temporality in especially in this environment, because I think it's kind of like temporal permanency.
Yes.
Of these buildings, you know, that people are so, you know, kind of hooked to. It's unbelievable. Even they're not rational anymore. So then it's like temporal rationality. It's kind of intervening now, and maybe it will change this talk about universal whole and the memories and these things, everything which is politically happening here. Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Alexandra, for your question. Thank you for everyone for your presence. Thank you, even researched. If someone wants, even sent in the chat the
website
of AKTO, but anyhow, we can share it. Biljana will take some excerpts as she's always do, and some lines, and please comment on the forum. And if anyone has a question or something needs to relate with Ivana, please write. Okay, super.
Thank you all. Sorry for being too long, and hope we see each other in person soon.
Okay, just one thing. I want to tell you bye-bye, Ivana, and I would like to ask them to stay like 3 minutes more, because we need to ask something.
Bye
and then
me.
Thank you. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, and Vicky, come up, and it's only 4 of us, 4 of you. But anyhow, just I wanted to say, there was this discussion today with Dana, who should organize the workshop on Friday, and this is how we are wrapping up the summer school official program, because on 15th will be this evaluation. We want to invite you. This is a horrible name, evaluation, but this is like, let's talk about what happened. But concerning Dana, she and I, we had a conversation about recording. So she thinks that recording is something that it's not appropriate method to be applied on her work in the workshop. So she asked that she won't be recorded. I answered that this for us is simply taking care of those who are absent in these times, so they can catch up, but also having a tool that would allow us, if something would miss something with these technological issues, that we would kind of have the possibility to recall what was happening. It doesn't have anything to do with dystopian understanding of surveillance and media and I don't know, capitalistic subjectivization and etc. But really a simple method that we can use among us. But anyhow, it was a super nice conversation among us. And since this is from our part co-curated program, which means we invite people and give them an empty space, we trust that they can organize that as they want, which means without a recording. And she will explain you all this. But what I'm saying now is because I'm not going to be there on Friday, since I've been scheduled one conference which is happening in Biljana in the same time as this workshop is happening. So just to tell you that you should be better present, because there won't be a chance for you to watch, recall, and have the archive to kind of go to afterwards. And if this can be communicated with your colleagues, if you're kind of close to them, would be super. Anyhow, I felt that should be good that we communicate with you and I say a few words. And I totally appreciate what is Dana asking. And also I appreciate how she organizes the empty space in which we invited her to make the workshop. So I hope you will enjoy. I know you will enjoy because Dana is super, super great and I admire her work. But yeah, now it was like 5 people, 6 people, and it's all the same. But if we can do that, we can come. So you won't miss this brilliance of Dana and the possibility to have the workshop. So that's it for this. And for the next thing, it's about this evaluation thing, which is very important for us. Why? It's something because we want, as we announced before, to go afterwards into a direction of do this MA program in this very much institutionalized modernism in every institution, not only in the cultural and art institutions, also in educational one, very traditional, very conservative, very, very. However, we will try our best and try to, through this as a subversive act, maybe to change this institutional modernism in education. So we'll see. But for that matter, your input is, yeah, it's very important. So it won't be like scheduled questions and stuff, maybe commenting about the comment, the format, what was expected, what did you get out of it, and maybe your suggestions of what, which parts should be extended, which parts were too much maybe, and stuff like that, in order to just have in mind what is there. We are aware that if it goes on MA program, we will need to do this practical part, mentoring stuff, that if anyone wants to do curating afterwards, we will offer kind of a space for collaborative development of curatorial, let's say, I hate the word project, but I will use it at this moment. But anyhow, so that's it. And I would offer, I asked Slavcho, but Slavcho is not available for this, for the timeline on 15th. And I wanted to propose maybe 12 o'clock, because it's a time that you can get up, have a coffee, do this, that, still have your brain, because at night sometimes everyone is exhausted. So just propose if 12 is okay for you. And I don't know, I mean, because if we write, Vicky, if we write a mail, it will go to I can, I cannot, I can, I cannot, I cannot. And this is very weird, but anyhow, we would like to have more of you. So maybe any suggestion?
Well, I don't know. At the moment, we're, I think, 3 people. So for me, it's okay. But I don't know.
For the, yeah.
I will communicate with Magda and Lela, that are the 2 other girls from the Greek group. But I think it's going to be okay for the 3 of us. I don't know for the rest of them.
Super. That makes 3 already. Yeah, good.
For example, myself, I have 1 exam and 15, but I don't know the hour still. So,
okay.
Say if it's maybe more afternoon, I don't know. I can say when I do know, but for now, I don't know in which.
Maybe we can send out a doodle so that everyone can just sign when available. But yeah, I think it's better if we do it during the day. Just maybe more people available. But I'm free in any case.
Okay, maybe we do that. Sharon? No, Sharon. Okay. Then maybe we do that, Jana. Maybe we can make, you can make a doodle, or we can whatever. And maybe point out that 12 is proposed. And we can propose 1 and 2 or something like that, huh? So see when, what do you think, Vicky?
Well, from the communication that I have, at least the participants that are communicating with me, informing me, only Sasha said that in the morning she cannot because she's working until 6 o'clock. Nobody else said that in the morning it's any kind of problem. So if we are proposing 2 terms, for me it would be more logical to propose, let's say 12, then the other one to be like at 4 or 5 p.m. To be like the one, and to see, so the one that has bigger number will be the time when the evaluation should happen. So I think this.
Cool, then let's do that. Huh? Jana, can you do the doodle? Super. Thank you, guys. I won't take your time anymore, but thank you very much for also staying a bit more so I can say and consult you. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Have a great
Ciao.
Bye.